Hello and welcome back to another episode of Found Footage Fridays. Just me, Steve here, and today I'm talking about Night Shot. It is a 2018 French film. It's sort of in the vein of Ganjam Asylum or Grave Encounters. Sort of gave me those vibes. It follows a paranormal investigator looking into an abandoned facility. Again, very similar to some of those older films that I just mentioned. And I kind of jokingly posted after I saw this that it was probably one of the better movies where you just kind of sort of ran around aimlessly in an abandoned facility for about an hour and a half. It's a trope in the genre, but here I really kind of enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. You have two characters. You have your cameraman and you have your investigator. So the main investigator is played by Natalie Couturier. I'm looking at IMDb as I go through this. I'm so sorry if I butcher the pronunciation. It's written and directed by Hugo Koenig. So I saw this on Found TV, the app, which, if you saw, we are sponsored by for this month. But this isn't a Found TV original, so this is an actual from the heart reaction. So, in case you were worried about that, this is true horror journalism here. But yeah, no, I mean, without really diving into spoilers yet, I really enjoyed some of the creep factor that they slowly sort of ramped into. So the kind of the gimmick of this film is that it's all sort of in one take. As with most films, they definitely sneak in some cuts there. Whether they kind of put them, like they turn the camera real fast. There's a shadow. They sneak in some cuts there. But the sort of the gimmick of the movie is that it's all done in one take, and maybe it was. I didn't do that deep dive of research into the production of the film. Maybe it all was in one take. They hit record and they just went. Really cool if they did, though, because there are some really cool sneaky transitions as they go from like one room of the facility to the other. And the story is pretty creepy. We really get into some human experimentation. There's definitely some witchiness going on, some demonic stuff happening. The scares are pretty effective. I think they all mostly rely on tension rather than jump scares. I mean, there's some jump scares, but they mostly pay off because of the well-paced tension. There is a moment sort of in the second act or so where the main character sort of delves into this sort of I don't know, this may over the top kind of hysterical reaction, which this sort of just felt like camera shaking, people are screaming, what's going on? There was a little bit of just a little bit of that. I could have used a little less of that because I think like 90% of the movie wasn't that. So when they kind of got into that stereotypical, if you will, piece of found footage, it was that was a little bit of a bummer. But there were some, really good. I don't say gore. I mean, there's a little bit of gore, but not too much. There's a really cool twist at the end. It kind of goes into directions that were surprising for me because like I said, a lot of these films where you just have your characters running around an asylum or some abandoned institution, and you don't know which way is up or which way is down. They're getting lost. They're oh, we were on this floor already. Oh, we were down this hole already. All that kind of stuff. It eventually kind of goes into a really cool payoff. That's kind of brutal, really. I totally 100% do recommend checking this movie out. I'm gonna give it a solid, not 7.5, 7. That was an old one. I guess that was Angel's last. No, 7. I think it gets a solid 7. It's not amazing. Again, it's no Ganjam Asylum, it's no Grave Encounters, but I think it can go toe to toe with them. I think it's a good time. and it's on Found TV, so you might as well. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere else, but I totally do recommend checking it out. So, without further ado, let's hop into some spoilers for it. I really like the way they unfolded the mystery because there's a connection here that they don't really hint at the beginning, right? It's not obvious that Natalie, it's the actor's name, but I don't think that might be her character's name. I forget. But she's connected to this place. Um, there were pregnant women being dissected, and babies and all this. Like, it was really just weird stuff going on, and that she is sort of part of this, and has gotten out. But as a sort of a result of all this chaos, she's out, and fate kind of brings her back to this place. The demonic presence, this supernatural force here, kind of toys with her. They end up in, really creepy rooms with like dolls and candles and magic, the Ouija boards. We're talking to them on like the stage at like I don't know if it was like a cafeteria or something. But it's slowly really kind of start to, seed this mystery piece by piece, which I thought was pretty cool. We don't really get a thought out plot with a lot of these, like I said, the running around abandoned place kind of subgenre. And I really enjoyed the characters. I thought she was really a compelling lead for a movie like this. The camera guy, don't remember his name, but he, again, like, I don't want to say my bar is low, um, but oftentimes you do find that characters can be kind of annoying in some of these found footage films, just because it almost feels like that they're reacting. They're always at 110 because they're reacting, and you're not really relying on what you're seeing too much. You're more so relying on the reaction of the characters. So sometimes that reaction is kind of built up kind of arbitrarily. Like I said, there's that one moment in the film where it kind of feels like, okay, we're going to kick up the emotions to 1,000 just because. But outside of that little snippet, it really felt like a genuine progression of their reaction to what was going on around them. And and then again, and then oh my god, the end when I don't know what that was, this cannibalistic. I don't know if they explicitly said what this man creature thing was, um, but I'm assuming part of these experiments, right? Whether it was a dude kind of living off of what he was doing to people, and whatever supernatural force was keeping him around. But he could, yeah, they're almost like on their way out. And good use of space too. Like they get in through the basement, and there's a lot of pipes everywhere, and they try to get find their way out. And kind of as they're on their way out, they're almost like you can tell like the facility, the supernatural force, and all that was kind of forcing them into this one direction, and that's where they ended up getting slaughtered and eaten or whatever at the end. But it was pretty. It got pretty intense. And I tell you, it kind of got me. But I think sometimes you have to also be open for it. I was lights were off. I was laying in bed by myself in the dark watching this movie, and I think like it's just you got to be in a great space. You got to be in a good headspace. You can't be sort of a curmudgeon and be like, prove me wrong and scare me. That kind of attitude. I think you have to sort of let yourself get into that headspace for a lot of these films, and then whether or not the film is super scary or not. I think the suspension of disbelief sort of does its magic if you can kind of just get into that space and be an easy fright. You hear people say, "Oh, I'm an easy laugh." You go to a comedy show, even if the comedian's not that funny, people kind of laugh anyway. You have to sort of just be in that headspace, be an easy scare. Now, that's not to say it wasn't scary. It was pretty creepy. But I created that environment for myself. Sorry, that's coming from. I was reading a lot of reviews recently of like, it wasn't Nosferatu. What was something that came up right before? It was like reviews being like, oh, that wasn't that scary. I forgot what movie it was, but I was like, that's a hard thing to gauge. You have to look at the whole picture. Not just if it scared you, because the reviewer was probably like what, a 30, 40-year-old adult, like It's not gonna scare you the same way. But all that to say, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it earned my 7. Uh, would I watch it again? I mean, maybe. I mean, now that I know everything, maybe not. But it was enjoyable. I don't regret watching it. I think it's worth checking out for sure. Yeah, but it's on Found TV. So you subscribe. I think I should know this as we're being sponsored, but I know there's a tier for no ads and there's a tier for I think it's free with ads. Free with ads, you pay for no ads. Um, I, I ended up putting towards it just because I'm like, spoiled with DVR and streaming, and I don't. Yeah, who wants commercials? But yeah, that's it. That's it for Night Shot. Definitely worth checking out. And yeah, you know, let us know what you think. If you've seen it already, it was from 2018, so it's been around a while. But luckily for apps like that, I just we get to kind of dive into the treasure trove of stuff that's already been out and discover new things that are somewhat old but new to us. That's always exciting. All right, well, happy Friday. Happy Found Footage Friday. Sorry, I should say that. And we will see you next week. Take care. Bye.